Community centers are serving dual purposes today. Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. Thank you for joining us. Well, Marylanders are heading to the polls to cast their ballots as today marks the first day of early voting. Prince George's has 8 sites available for residents who are registered, and those who are not registered can now sign up. In addition to the presidential primary election, here are other seats up for grabs. Retiring Senator Barbara Mikulski's U.S. Senate position and Congresswoman Donna Edwards' vacated District 4 congressional seat. CTV spoke with voters at the Sports and Learning Complex this morning. Many say one of the benefits of early voting is foregoing the long lines on Election Day.
I need to get it done and over with.
I wanted to be here on the first day. It's an exciting time, and we need to be out. Everyone needs to come out now.
Sometimes they can't meet the deadlines for regular voting, so early voting sometimes is less crowded, and you're able to get in and get out.
And early voting will continue until next Thursday, April 21st. All 8 polling places will be from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Those include Brandywine, Bowie, College Park and Laurel, as well as Forestville, Fort Washington, Upper Marlboro, and Landover. Well, we now go to one of those early polling locations in Prince George's where Byron Scott caught up with voters and one of the candidates running for a congressional seat. How are you?
Early voting is underway in Maryland, and casting his ballot in Forestville this morning, Glen Ivy, who is seeking the 4th congressional district seat.
We're reaching out to voters today. We were out at the Metro this morning greeting voters as they were either coming to work or heading into town for work. We're going to be at the early voting sites, reaching out to voters, letting them know that I'm on the ballot.
Ivy and several others are looking to replace Donna Edwards, who is running for the Senate. The front-runners include Ivy,
Republicans want
former gubernatorial candidate Anthony Brown, and Delegate Jocelyn Pena-Melnick, who was endorsed by the Washington Post. Military veteran Warren Christopher is also running. Ivy was recently endorsed by former U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder. Turnout was strong at Suitland Community Center in Forestville. The crowd, mostly older retired types, couldn't wait to exercise their right to vote.
Get your paperwork in order so you can vote.
Jesse Tolbert brought his sign.
So you think it's important to come out? Every time you're voting, you just don't know what the power you have in your hand.
Well, I'm extremely pleased with the crowd that I see here at Suitland Community Center, and I am hoping, based on reactions to the people in the community that I'm aware of, by encouraging them all to vote early, because seeing April the 26th as very, very crowded, that today would be the best day to come out and get started.
There are 6 Democrats running for the 4th congressional district and several Republicans. Now, the district is overwhelmingly Democratic, and so the popular thinking is the winner of the primary will win the general election. But of course, in politics, there are no guarantees. In Forestville, Byron Scott, CTV News.
Meantime, one of the biggest Democratic primary contests on the ballot this election is the one to fill longtime Senator Barbara Mikulski's seat. The race between Representatives Chris Van Hollen and Donna Edwards for the party's nomination has become increasingly competitive. Both candidates were in Prince George's County today canvassing for voters. Rochelle Metzger is in Landover with more.
Candidates for Maryland's open U.S. Senate seat are taking advantage of the early voting period by greeting potential voters here at the Sports and Learning Complex in Landover. The contest to replace retiring Senator Barbara Mikulski is one of the most hotly contested races in the state. Democratic candidate Chris Van Hollen began the day campaigning at the Wayne K. Curry Sports and Learning Complex, the largest early voting site in Prince George's County.
I've been in every part of the state in this election, but it's also to rally people like we are today.
The 57-year-old congressman who represents Maryland's 8th district was joined by supporters, including some leading African-American women in the community.
Having these women leaders in the African-American community who are just, again, making a difference every day in their communities and having their support, I think is really important.
A new Marist survey shows Van Hollen with a single-digit lead over opponent Donna Edwards, who represents the 4th district. Polling has remained close in the contest and shows that some potential voters are divided along racial lines. Senator Joanne Benson calls that unfortunate.
At this point in time, I'm not concerned about the color of the person's skin.
What I'm concerned about is who can best deliver and get the job done.
Benson is not only endorsing Van Hollen, she's featured in a campaign ad.
And it would be very helpful. It would really please me if I could find an African-American woman who is currently running for the Senate seat, who have the kind of skills, who has the ability as Chris Van Hollen.
As for voters we spoke with, some say they've yet to make up their minds, but say they're looking for a candidate with
seniority and having a history with it. It does play a large part in it because, whether I'm looking for someone who can bring something different, I'm also looking for someone who actually knows what they're doing.
Somebody that could get jobs for the middle class. Even though I'm retired, we need the middle class to be working.
This voter has decided who she's supporting.
Donna Edwards. She's very educated, very intelligent. She has my vote.
Representative Donna Edwards was greeting commuters bright and early this morning at the Largo Metro station. She'll spend most of the afternoon on Capitol Hill, and then she'll return to the campaign trail this evening, attending an early voting rally in Montgomery County. Reporting in Landover, Rochelle Metzger, CTV News.
And Senator Mikulski, who announced last March that she would not seek a sixth term, has not endorsed either candidate for her seat. In a statement last week, she expressed a desire to stay neutral in the contest, adding that she is grateful Maryland voters have such fine choices. Well, the family of an elderly man who went missing last fall in Upper Marlboro files a lawsuit today against the living facility that cared for him. At a press conference this afternoon, members of Lubin Phipps' estate made the announcement. The 80-year-old who suffered from dementia was attending a picnic in Watkins Regional Park September 18th with other residents and staff of Woodmore House Assisted Living. That's when he disappeared, only to be found nearly 1 month later. The family says that his disappearance was the result of the facility's negligence.
Those in charge of his supervision lost him. We're not talking about luggage in an airport. We're talking about losing a human being in a park. He was alone. He had no food. He had no water or any type of hydration.
My father was a very loving, kind person. And every day I think about him suffering, being out there alone. His death, it just haunts me every day.
The amount of the civil claim is undisclosed. Well, Greenbelt Police need your help locating a man who they say sexually assaulted a woman after she left Beltway Plaza Mall Monday night. According to investigators, a 5-foot male with a light complexion and muscular build made initial contact with the victim inside of the mall and then followed her as she left.
She then walked towards a residence across Breezewood Drive, and once she walked across the street into the apartment complex, she again caught sight of the suspect, who again engaged in a short conversation with the victim. At one point, near the 5900 block of Cherrywood Terrace, he produced a knife, threatened the victim, pulled her into the woods, and sexually assaulted her.
Now, police say the suspect was wearing a black T-shirt with a pink emblem on the front, dark pants, and gray sneakers with green trim. Anyone with information is asked to call 301-474-7200. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone.